Hello everyone, I'm back off my holidays, all freshened up and ready to go with yet another recipe. Today's recipe, Lancashire Hotpot. Beautiful. So what we got for the hotpot? Right, well I've started preparing all my ingredients. So I've got some nice finely chopped onions, nicely finely chopped, 2 tablespoons of plain flour, Worcestershire sauce, black pepper, salt, 500 millilitres of lamb stock. If you can't get lamb stock, you can use chicken stock, it's not a problem. I'm going to be using my garlic butter. I've got some, I think it's about 450 grams of some nicely diced stewing lamb. I shall be leaving the fat on the lamb because it gives it that extra flavour. If you want to take the fat off, you can do, it's not a problem. But trust me, if you leave it on, it gives it a really nice flavour. For the vegetables, I've got some sliced carrots which I've already peeled and sliced, and I've also prepared my potatoes which we shall be lining the Lancashire Hotpot with. And what I've sliced my potatoes with is this, it's called a mandolin. So you just run your potato up and down it, it's got different thicknesses, and that keeps all the potatoes all the same thicknesses. It's called a mandolin. If you ain't got one, just use a knife, not a big problem. A lot quicker one. Only a few quid off Amazon. So that's all the ingredients for the dish. Now ideally, if you've got a shallow cast iron casserole dish, you'd make everything into there and just put it into the oven. I've not got one of them. So what I shall be doing is I shall cook everything in the wok and I shall be transferring it to this casserole dish. Okay, so that's all the ingredients for the recipe, so let's get going. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the oven on to preheat the oven. If you're going to use electric oven, it's 160. If you're using fan oven, it's 140. I think that's about gas mark 3. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to be putting my casserole dish into the oven to get that nice and hot, so that when I add all the hot ingredients into it, it doesn't cool anything down. So I'm going to put that into the oven and that can preheat with the oven. And now we're going to start cooking. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a nice chunk of my garlic butter. Nice big chunk, and we want to get that melted into the wok. So get that melted. And I'm also going to cut off another good chunk of garlic butter, and I'm going to put that to one side. I want that melted, so that when it's all finished and ready to go in the oven, we'll brush the potatoes with the melted garlic butter and then get it under the grill. Okay, so that's that bit done. So let's get this garlic butter melted, and then what we need to do is to put in the lamb, diced lamb, brown it off all over. That's the first step. So get that garlic butter melted. If you haven't got garlic butter, you can just put some ordinary butter in and a bit of garlic, either crushed garlic or garlic granules. But I like to use garlic butter. As anyone that watches my channels will know. So what we're going to do now is get this lamb in there. I'm going to brown it off all over. And when it's all browned off, I'm going to put it on, transfer it onto a plate. Okay, so let's get that in there. Get it all nice and browned off. All over, nice and brown. Don't leave any red or pink or anything like that showing. Okay. Another ingredient which should really go in here is kidneys. So after you brown these off, you brown the kidneys off, but my missus can't have kidneys already awful, so unfortunately for me, because I love them, there won't be any kidneys in my recipe. But you can put kidneys in if you like the kidneys. That makes it even better. But fortunately I can't have them because the missus can't eat them. So I've got to suffer basically. Right, that's all browned off nicely that, so I'm just going to turn the heat down And I'm going to scoop all that meat out and put it onto this plate. Don't get rid of that juice in the pan. Keep that. So that's the first step done. And now what we do, we have the diced onions in there and the carrots in there, and we fry them for a few minutes. Then we add the flour, fry it for a bit longer, add the stock, give it all a good mix in, salt and pepper, add the meat back into there. So the next step, onions and carrots. So I've drained off my carrots. Let's get the onions in there, turn the heat back up. So now we fry the onions and the carrots, get them in there. That's the onions in there, the carrots in there. And in a few minutes time, later on I shall be draining off the potatoes, but not just yet. Plenty of time for that. Let's get these fried. So fry these until you start to see the onions start to cook. Now I'm going to add my salt and pepper. Salt from a great height. About a teaspoon of salt, I would say. And a good sprinkling of black pepper. Okay. Cook that for a couple more minutes. Now I'm going to tip in the flour. Tip the flour into there. Give it all a really good mixing up. Okay. Really good mixing so you can't see any more of that flour. Add the stock into there. Give that a really good mixing up. Then I'm going to tip in about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, that's that in there. Give that all a really good mixing up. And now I'm going to tip back the diced lamb back into there. And give that a really good mixing. Bring this back to the boil, and if you like, say, if you've got your casserole dish already, put the lid on, bung it in the oven. About an hour and a half. So all you need to do now is bung that into the casserole dish, bung it into, cover it with potatoes, put the lid on, put it in the oven, cook it for about an hour and a half until the potatoes are nice and tender on top. So I'll transfer that now into my casserole dish, which will be hot. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to tip that in. So that's all the. So that's now in the casserole dish. So what you need to do now is just layer it all the way around with your potatoes. Okay. All the way around. So any potatoes that are left, I shall batter, and I shall be cooking some battered potato scallops. So So we'll put them to one side. So that is now ready to go in the oven. Once that's done, cook it about an hour and a half in the oven. Once that's done, take it out. This melted butter, it will be melted by then, and then what we'll do, we'll brush the potatoes and pour the butter on top of the potatoes and put it underneath the grill. But for now, into the oven it goes. Set the timer for an hour and a half. I'll come back in about an hour and a half, check the potatoes. If they're nice and soft, we'll move on to the next stage. But for now, that's it. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so it's now time to take out the casserole dish and check the potatoes to make sure that they're nice and tender. So let me get the casserole dish out. Smells beautiful. So I'm just going to put this on here. And I also want to preheat the grill. I put my garlic butter that I had earlier on in the top oven, so the heat from the bottom oven would rise and melt that butter, because we want that butter melted. So now we're going to turn on the grill to full and get that preheated. Right, let's get the lid off this and check these potatoes. That's what we've got at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going to pour some butter over the top of these potatoes. I'm going to get this under the grill and brown them potatoes off. So let's get this under the grill. And we give that about 5 minutes under the grill. So we'll give that about 5 minutes underneath the grill, just to round the potatoes off a little bit. And then we'll dish out and get stuck in. So I'll see you in a few minutes time. So that's been under the grill now for about 5 minutes. So it's time to come out and we'll check it all out and dish out. Just look at that. Just look at that. Beauty. Smell beautiful. So all that remains for me to do now is to dish out and get stuck in. So let's have a look at it. And there you have my Lancashire Hotpot. That lamb is so tender. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.